Good evening. Welcome to my next episode about Chopin Mazurkas. Today we have Mazurka Opus 41, number 1, in E minor. This particular Mazurka was written in 1838 in Mallorca. This was the time when Chopin went to Mallorca together with Georges Sand. They hoped to have a great, fantastic time in the Spanish island. A kind of, well, not really vacation, because it was to be time of hard work, both for Georges Sand and for the Chopin. But I want to start this Mazurka as a kind of journey. I want to show you that the music also can be a journey. So now let's imagine I take you together with me on a journey, and we will, together with Chopin, of course, we will go somewhere, and then we of course have to go back. So we will go back, and when we go back, something will happen. I will explain while playing, but I think it's a fantastic example of a trip, a musical trip. So just listen. We start with going out, with, let's say, the phrase A. And again, phrase A. And now we go to the phrase B, so we are more far. Now we come to phrase C, so we are even far. And then we come back, because we are again on the phrase B. Closer and closer home. And now we are back at home, but something happened during the time we were outside. Something dramatic happened, because instead of being like the beginning, very calm and sad, suddenly we are, it's dramatic. And then we don't have any more power, and everything is just dying. Isn't it interesting? I think while playing this, I'm always thinking it's a kind of symbol also of, well, Chopin himself. He went out from Poland when in Poland there was still, well, he was very happy actually, but there was still a hope of independence. And shortly after he left, uprising against the occupancy started, and then we lost this uprising. Many people died, and so in general, this history of our country is very tragic. And then, so of course, when Chopin is coming back, well, he never came back. Unfortunately, he was dreaming of, but he never came back. But if he had come back, what happened in his home is this. This is what actually happened. So it's a kind of symbol of a journey. So that's actually what I wanted to start from. So as we can see, this mazurka is very sad. Again sad, after having the Opus 33 and Chopin in love with his lover George Sand, finally fulfilled as a man, and he doesn't really, we don't really feel too much of this żal, of this sorrow, typical for Chopin. Here again it is, but it's very interesting. Of course, there are many reasons. Those of you who know Chopin's biography, of course you know that in Majorca he was not particularly happy. Actually, he got cold and he got extremely sick, and George Sand was afraid of him. Everybody was afraid that he's going to die. The weather was very bad, and he was more and more sick. And also he was waiting for the piano to come, but the piano wasn't coming. So he got very sad, very depressed, homesick, and alone. He didn't get letters. I don't know if you know that fact, but he was waiting desperately for letters from his friends, Polish friends, and from his parents, but he didn't get any letters. Of course, that was also because of the post office, which worked only once a week, one day a week. And at that time, to get a post in Majorca was something incredible, was something really, really difficult. It didn't work like it worked in France, for example, or other European countries. So anyway, Chopin was very, very sad. But another reason is that this particular melody, this is actually a quotation. This is a quotation of original Polish folk melody, which I give you the link below this video. You can listen to it, singing by the Polish National Radio Choir. A very, very beautiful melody, which sounds like this. It's very Polish. And then we have Chopin Mazurka. It's almost the same. Chopin almost never quoted something, so this has a meaning. He definitely wants to quote. He is homesick. He is missing his beloved country, his parents, his friends, his language, everything. And this in Mazurka is exactly about missing country. And one more thing, because maybe you don't know this fact, which is also very interesting and important. Opus 41, Mazurkas Opus 41, is the first and only opus of Mazurkas which Chopin dedicated to his friend. In French it says à son ami, so to my friend, my dear friend. All the other mazurkas were dedicated to important people, aristocratic people, or some, politically correct. But this is so. I have the feeling that this opus is so personal, and so Polish, even more than, of course, all the mazurkas are Polish, but this is even more. And Chopin definitely wanted to dedicate it just to his friend. That also means that he didn't compose them for money or thinking about money. Of course, it was important for him to survive, but it is something more behind it. So the friend's name is Etienne Witwicki, Stefan Witwicki. He was a poet. He was important friend of Chopin because many songs, Chopin songs, also this most famous, like Maiden's Wish, for example, they were written for the text written by Stefan Witwicki. So now when we know all this, we can proceed to see how this is built. It all starts from repeating note. Right? And this, what I show you now, is extremely important because it repeats in all 4 mazurkas in this opus. This is something, this is something I didn't know until I started to learn them. And then, even if I started to learn them, I didn't know that at first. But after some weeks, when I played all of them, and I was thinking, before doing these videos, I was thinking what exactly to focus on, because it's always important. I have to choose, because if I want to focus on everything, then every video would last 1 day or something like that, so that's too much. But I was thinking what to focus on, and then I what is the connection, because to my amazement, I found a connection in almost all opuses of mazurkas, and I talked about it before. Opus, as I said before, for example, I don't know, opus 30, we have this. Every mazurka has forte, the phrase in forte, and the phrase in piano. Phrase in forte, phrase in piano. All 4 of them. This echo thing. For example, opus 17 has the chromatic scale going down, and opus 24 has these dialogues between women and men, and so on. And opus 33 has this note. So in every mazurka, and this is also very special. It starts with the Polish folk melody. The Polish folk melody repeats the note 4 times. 4 times. It doesn't have to be 4 times. It can be more, but this is the one repeating note, and you can find it in all the mazurkas. Well, maybe I can show you it now, because I think it's very interesting. So this we already know. It happens later also when we have this phrase B. All the time 1 note. And then when we have the second mazurka, mazurka in B major, already the beginning has this code, this connection. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 times. And later in the middle section, I show it in the next video, but then we have again 1. It's something that 1 note that sticks inside. It has a meaning. It has a kind of deep symbol. It is a deep symbol, definitely. And now this mazurka, it starts as if there is nothing like this. And we don't have it until the middle part, when suddenly it appears. How many times? 1, 2, 3, and 4. So again, we have the same thing. It's a little bit hidden, but it is. And then in the last Mazurka, it's also hidden in a way, because it appears in the second phrase when we have in this part. If you listen carefully, you can hear this one note, this one, and finally it goes down, right? So, and also of course it also appears a bit later, but definitely this is the most important moment. At the end we have this also. So, but that's just by the way, let's say. But this is actually, I think it's extremely important, and I think it's not the coincidence, of course, because we don't have it in other mazurkas, only in this opus. So as we said before, the whole beginning starts with Chopin missing his country. He recalls this folk melody. So I think here for the pianist it's very important to have inside the feeling of missing somebody. We can, when we play it, we can remember our own experience when we were in love and we missed somebody, or when we were outside of home and we were missing home. But it's very important that the audience can feel it through our playing. Then this music transmits the true feelings of Chopin. I always say it's the most important thing, especially in mazurkas, when we had the diary of Chopin, to be able to get inside his soul, inside his heart, inside his brain, as much as possible, to transmit what he had inside. And if the pianist succeeds in doing this, then the performance of mazurka is just amazing. It's just extraordinary, and it happens sometimes. So anyway, every time when I perform this mazurka, when I want to perform, before I start, I get this impression. I can try to do it even now. I hope it feels, but anyway, we have to feel something. It's very difficult to get back to the reality after that. But of course, okay, so going to the second phrase now. The second phrase, we have B major. So first of all, it's an anticipation of the second mazurka, the key. Second of all, it's probably, recently I said to my friend that probably Chopin's favorite key was the B major. And as I always show, the most beautiful melodies were written by Chopin in B major. I think you agree. And also in mazurkas, I showed it many times before, we have many beautiful melodies that come straight into our hearts, that are very touching. They are in B major. And here we have, so suddenly our heart is warmer. We feel warmer, and also the phrase is going up. So this is like the sun. Let's imagine it was night before. Now it's the sun is coming. The sun is going up and it stays. And again. And second time. It also has a feeling of Kujawiak, this waving, slow dancing. We can imagine then if we want to play Kujawiak, we should play it a little bit faster so that we can make the 3 a little later so that there is an impression that people are dancing Kujawiak. We also know from letters that in Majorca, Chopin was not all the time very sad. Of course, he got better. He got better, but also before he got a cold, the first impression of Majorca was fantastic. He wrote in letters, oh, what a fantastic climate, what a beautiful flowers, and the sun is shining, and the water is so beautiful. You know, if you were in Majorca, you know, Chopin must have been absolutely astonished. Especially that time, there were no photos, no Google, no internet, nothing, just paintings, right? So not even photos. So he didn't see it in real life. Can we imagine that? I think we cannot. We live in completely different times. For example, it's very hard for me to imagine a person who never in his life saw in photos or internet, I don't know, the Mediterranean Sea or the blue sea, this what we all love, and Chopin never saw. So for him it was absolutely amazing. And here we can feel this Chopin who actually have this kind of impression of the beautiful island. And it brings us to part C, which actually this part C makes me very annoyed. This is the only mazurka when Chopin makes me angry, and really angry. And I have to tell you, every single day I'm asking Chopin, why the hell you wrote this phrase, this beautiful, fantastic, one of the most beautiful phrases you wrote, only one time. I don't understand that. He never did that. In this mazurka, he doesn't repeat this fantastic phrase. We have only 8 bars of one of the most beautiful melody, Polish melody that exists. Just listen. 4 bars and then what we come back to B, and it doesn't come back. It doesn't. So when I started to learn this mazurka, I was so sad, and I'm not joking now. I was really sad and then angry, and I still am. I'm happy I'm doing this recording for you because I can play this theme as many times as I want. It's so amazingly beautiful. Unfortunately, well, for Chopin it didn't work 2 times. Maybe he wrote it on purpose, so that we also miss it, and we have the same feeling that he had. He was missing Poland, we are missing part C. Who knows? This part C has the what is the character of this? It's like a mixture between this kind of Spanish feeling of Chopin with the Polish, very nostalgic and full of sorrow. Definitely it's written deeply from inside the heart. So when I play this mazurka, I think this part, I put all my emotions and all my heart into this part, and I celebrate it. I don't want it to finish. And then okay, then we come back to the part B, and we go back home, and then something happened, right? The ending, Chopin decided to write forte fortissimo, and it makes us think. It's a proof, I would say, that this is a story, maybe kind of ballad story. Because if it's not a story, then Chopin would end it the same way like he ended. Like he started, like for example in Mazurka. Can you imagine this Mazurka? You know this very well, of course. I was talking about it a few weeks ago. Well, no, a month ago, more than a month ago. But anyway, it could not end. Can you imagine this ending? No, it's not possible. But here we have. So I think this is like a protest for Chopin. It's a little bit like a protest or a power. Like, you know, like we are caged and we just destroy the cage. We fight for the independence, but it's a lot of pain. And the power of the sound is almost like Rachmaninoff-like sound, with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 notes right together. He doesn't have more power. Here we have a little bit, no more power, but then going up. Now what is very interesting in this part is that here Chopin writes forte fortissimo, and then he never writes any other dynamic. Not even diminuendo, nothing. Only end is rallentando. So for somebody who treats Chopin's score as a Bible, this means that we should not make a diminuendo until the end. But in this particular moment, it seems impossible that Chopin wanted like that. We can try to do it. Let's see. Well, actually, why not? It sounds completely different, like from all the pianist plays, but that's how Chopin wrote. So I must tell you that I have to think about it. I have to think about it when I'm going to do the recording of all the Mazurkas soon, and it's very tempting to record it like that. Well, it's a pity that one cannot record pieces more than one time on the CD with changing something. For example, different tempo, you know, because we don't know how Chopin was playing, and well, for everybody is different. We pianists, we have to choose our final version, and that's a little bit sometimes it's a bit difficult. It's not so difficult in Beethoven, but in Chopin, it's very, very difficult. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I invite you for my next one, and also for my previous ones. If you didn't see them, there is a whole playlist where you can find all of them in this project. And well, see you again. Maybe for the last time I play for you the C, part C, my very favorite. Okay. Good night. Thank you very much.